Boom! What's going on, everybody? I'm Logan, the 64th Gear Jammer Skeele, opening up the warehouse doors on another episode of Toy Talk. How many of you have heard of Diamond Reo trucks? I ask because I've got a really cool truck to review today, and I'm really excited to finally have one in 64 scale to put in my collection. I've included a link below to farmtoysandmore.com where you can buy one of these great trucks. It's by Reo scale models. Now, Diamond Reo Trucks was an American truck manufacturer that was created when Diamond T and Reo trucks were combined in 1967 under their parent company of White Motors. In 1971, Francis Cappaert bought Diamond Reo from White and made it an independent company again. And then he introduced the C116 Apollo and the C119 Raider trucks to their lineup. In December of 1974, the company was forced into bankruptcy, and a year later, the rights to the company were bought by loyal Osterlund and Houseal, and production resumed at their Harrisburg, Pennsylvania facility under the corporate name of Diamond Vehicle Solutions, which their facility was originally a dealership and maintenance yard. As you can imagine, production was highly limited by such a small facility. Only the model C116 was offered, and only about 150 trucks annually were produced through 1995. In the early 2000s, Diamond Vehicle Solutions marketed the TL series of trucks, which included a long hood and two medium-length hoods. The basic cabs were sourced from Navistar trucks, with frames being made by Diamond Vehicle Solutions. Power was from Cappaert or Cummins, with Eaton and Allison transmissions for drivelines. The T-line ceased production in 2010. As for the name today, rights were acquired by an Australian company, Daysworth International, and they are back producing the trucks for the Australian market. They're using Euro-styled cab-overs for prime movers. Maybe someday there will be a model of one of those made. But for today, I've got a 1974 Diamond Reo C119 Raider for you. Very last of the original Diamond Reo trucks. This is the 1974 Diamond Reo Raider truck that Reo Scale Models has made. They made actually 4 different versions of this casting. Well, no, take that back. Only 2 different versions of this casting. 2 have, one of them is this one, and the other one has a sleeper behind it. Then they made a setback axle version as a day cab and a sleeper. But with the set forward axle, they've only made 2 versions, this day cab and one sleeper cab, and they put different paint jobs on both of them. As you can see, Reo puts it in their hardboard sleeve with display box, which is really nice because it saves us from having to dust these guys. And man, I've had to dust some of these trucks and it gets really tedious. They also put that sort of mirror thing in the back so you can see what the truck looks like on the passenger side without taking it out. However, they look best if you take them out, and that's the way these toys are meant to be. They're not really meant to stay on their shelves. They're meant to be taken out and enjoyed. And what I love to do with them is put them on a diorama. You can see it's got that hard, clear plastic box with a plastic display base. Oh, one other thing I'll show you is the item number there is 64-0. The item number is 64090. Diamond Reo Raider in metallic light blue with stripes. We'll set this lid out of the way. And typical to Reo, what they did was they mounted it with 2 screws. And I've noticed that they've used 2 different types of screws on their bases. Some have these great big screw Phillips heads and some have little tiny ones. And what I'm going to do for you guys is go on and take it off the base, and I'll do that right here. And when you do take these off the base, make sure you hold it this way. Finger and thumb underneath and finger on top of the frame. Otherwise, you run the good risk of actually breaking parts off of the truck. And it's just got the 2 screws, which come out pretty easily. And I really don't want you to break your toys when you get them. So be careful how you hold them, particularly this way, because you got to put a little pressure on them so that you don't, so that you can actually turn those screws. Set them aside. Then we'll lift this guy right up off of there. And then set this base plate aside so I don't lose it. And here it is, guys, the Diamond Reo, and I'll pick it up so we can see it a whole lot closer, because they did a really nice job making a truck that's not too terribly common out there. It doesn't even show up much at the antique truck shows, but it'd make a really nice addition to an antique truck show sitting on our dioramas now, wouldn't it? It's got 10-hole aluminum wheels on the front and 10-hole aluminum wheels on the back. The fuel tanks, the battery box, the exhaust, all the parts that were used to being associated as chrome, they actually just painted them silver to mimic the aluminum, which was more prototypical than the chrome plated, even though we're probably more used to our chrome plated parts. But that's alright. You can see it's got the duals. It is a resin cab sitting on a die-cast frame, and that's very important because that die-cast frame is where resin vehicles were breaking. These don't break. The cabs are very durable themselves. It's just the frames that were problematic, thanks to a very unnamed company out there who made junk and gave resin a bad name. I wouldn't worry about resin. I have resins in my collection, and they do great. But anyway, do you see the fuel tank? There's the oil filter there. There's a spotlight up there, a searchlight for them. It's got the door handle tampoed in silver, and it's got a hand grip there. The muffler, that grill detail that's for the heat shield, well, it's actually just a decal on these, but it looks really cool, and it even gives you a little bit of texture to it. The tailpipes on these trucks, Neo came up with a really neat way to make the tailpipes. They make the resin muffler, and then they just take a piece of tubing and they push it down in there and let it harden around it. So you actually have a hollow tailpipe. It's really cool. And they gave this guy the 45 mitered stacks on it. And we'll turn it around towards the front. You can see the tan interior inside this truck. And it's got tan dashboard, tan steering wheel, tan passenger driver seats. The glass is vacuum formed, so it's super clear, unlike the hard plastic. And then they ringed it with black paint to make it look like it has gaskets, and they've got that silver bar up the center of it to look like it's a two-piece windshield. Also, the photo etch parts on this model are right there, the two windshield wipers, and be careful with those because they're the easiest to flick off of these machines. Onto the front, you can see that grille has the traditional diamonds that go right down the center, and the Diamond Reo logo tampoed right there. The bumper has a Delaware license plate, and it also has driving lights in it, which are individual jewel style headlights or driving lights. And then the headlights in each pod, there's two in each side, are also individual jewel style headlights. The turn signals there are a clear amber, and they're the box style turn signals that mounted on the fenders. And then they've got the amber Tamiya yellow coloring on them so that they actually look kind of clear. Pretty neat the way they do that. Around here over to the passenger side, and you'll see it has similar details. Fuel tank, battery box, stack, hand grab bar, door handle, mirror, and instead of the turbo style air cleaner that we're used to, it has a box style. White was big on those. Diamond Reos and Western Stars had that square box air intake. Also, Autocars did. And then on both sides of the hood here, you can see it has the Diamond Reo logo, and below it, it does say Raider, which is the model. Also, on the back of each fender here is a front little mud flap to keep the water spray down. Also, you can see the same 10-hole wheels. These are a new wheel for Neo, and they did a pretty nice job on them. Turning him around to the back, you can see it has 2 brake lights that are just painted red, and it's got the 2 mud flaps. They also put a Delaware plate on the back. Not quite sure why they put plates on the back of the trucks, but they do. If we tip it up a little bit, you can see the 5th wheel pivots, and it is set up with a kingpin that can handle any of the DCP or first gear trailers, so finding a trailer to hook up to this guy is no problem. And there you can see the electric and airlines hanging off the back of the cab. Not quite sure that that's the way that should be done, but that's the way they did it. And being a day cab, there's the back window, which is really nice. Turning him underneath, we see the same detail that's been on many of their trucks. A nice front suspension, which is springed. See the bottom of the engine detail, the transmission detail, drive shaft leading to the first axle, and then a drive shaft connecting to the tandem. Also, you can see the old style suspension there and differentials on it. Really nice truck. The lettering reads, I'll turn it over this time so you can actually read it. It reads 1974 Diamond Reo Raider in 1/64 scale and Neo scale models. Also, it has made in China cast there. If we go on and turn him up to the top, you'll see it has the individual air horns and the individual bullet style roof lights. I think they would have been a little closer together there, but they spread them out. Not sure why. Maybe that's the way the model was when they found it. You can also see that striping goes up on top of the hood. Pretty cool the way that goes. And I forgot to mention there's a body matched visor there above the cab. Those bullet style, you can see there's silver painted on the back and amber for the lenses on the front. And this is a day cab, which means it would be doing short runs or be a great farm truck sitting on your layout. And what I'm going to do is show you what it looks like with a trailer hooked up, because after all, what good is a truck without a trailer? However, if you're doing a vintage truck show, tractors by themselves, that's just a great way to go. But anyway, what I've got to show it off with a trailer here is I've got this grain trailer by DCP. It's their old Wilson 45-foot grain trailer. And you can see that it hooks up pretty nice to that. That'd be fairly common on a farm today, and even back in the day, they would been running these very well on the farms, day cabs and grain trailers. So, it being harvest season's going on right now, it'd be time to break out the old Diamond Reo and the grain trailer and head to the field to haul that corn in. I'd take that classic Diamond Reo any day. What about you guys? Neo chose resin cabs on die-cast frames for their models to make very limited run toolings. This makes them highly collectible. To learn more about why resin is not just moving in, but taking over the limited run market, grab my free report on resin versus die-cast at the link in the description below. Also, there's a link down there to farmtoysandmore.com where you can shop for these models. And guys, it would mean so much to me if you take a moment to hit that thumbs up button and hit the subscribe button to join my YouTube family. Thanks for watching today. I'm Logan, the 64th Gear Jammer Skeele, closing up the warehouse doors on another episode of Toy Talk.